Hey guys! So is abortion vegan? I considered doing a video kind of on politics. Someone was asking about being conservative and a vegan and getting shit for it. I considered doing a video on that, but I figured it'd be too controversial. So I decided instead to talk about abortion. Makes sense. So I think often this seems like, and I suspect it's often asked as more of a kind of gotcha question, like trying to show that vegans or vegetarians are like hypocrites or something, kind of like the plants feel pain too though, right? Like that kind of thing. It's like, you're not really serious. But I do think that it can be a legitimate question. I think it's worth answering. You know, if someone thinks that that we're vegan or vegetarian because we are just against killing animals no matter what, then it's a legit question. You know, how can you be against killing animals but totally okay with killing fetuses? So I would say for myself, and I think many vegans, vegetarians would say the same, we aren't just wholly anti-killing, we're anti-unnecessary harm. I think all of us can think of examples where killing is the best thing, the nicest thing, the most, merciful thing to do in certain situations. I think many of us have had to experience euthanizing our pets because they are suffering. My family had to go through that just recently, twice in the last couple months. Two of my kitties, many of you probably remember, have videos, if you look up the Christmas videos, of McGurk, my Maine Coon, and Finnegan, little rat tail, tiny head Finnegan. He had to be put down just a couple days ago, and McGurk a couple months before that. So again, what we care about is harm, unnecessary harm. So, eating animals when we have other alternatives, right? When we have plant foods that we can eat instead, that would be causing unnecessary harm. Of course, harm is only relevant if the being in question can experience harm, can experience pain, right? We don't care about unnecessary harm to a rock because you can't really harm a rock, right? For more information on pain versus nociception, I do have a video on that with regard to insects, so check that out. So the question really is, when can a fetus feel pain? Can a fetus feel pain? So according to scientific consensus, the evidence is clear that fetuses cannot feel pain until about the third trimester, until around like 27, 28 weeks. So being pro-choice, or whatever you want to call it, at least up until the 28-week mark is consistent with veganism. Now, what about after 28 weeks? Well, first, it is important to note that the vast majorities of abortions occur well before the third trimester. According to the CDC, this is information from 2009. 91.7% of abortions were performed at or before 13 weeks, so before even the second trimester starts. 7% were between 14 and 20 weeks, so during the second trimester, and only 1.3% at 21 weeks or greater. And unfortunately, they don't have a breakdown of like how many occur, at 28 weeks or later. But still, only 1.3% at 21 weeks or greater, which obviously makes the image that's kind of promoted by a certain side of the political spectrum of women just lining up for partial birth abortions, it makes that pretty silly. Also important to note is that there are many other factors besides just fetal pain. Obviously, you have the health of the mother, you have the quality of life outcome for the fetus if it is born, obviously, severe medical conditions or disabilities. So asking the question, is it ethical to abort a fetus after 28 weeks? It just doesn't have a clear yes or no answer, unfortunately. Every situation is different. One thing is very clear though, by making abortions easier to get and less expensive, this will very likely reduce the number of third trimester and even second trimester abortions, since one of the common reasons that women give for waiting to get an abortion is just lack of access and lack of money. So that's it, really. I tried to make that as milquetoast as I possibly could, trying not to make people uncomfortable and alienate people. This wasn't any sort of political video, but it's something, again, it's a question that I see a lot. And while I do think usually it's just people don't really want an answer to it, I'm sure some do. And just kind of on a side note, when I've seen people respond to this question and other questions as well, it's usually very snarky and people just saying, oh, you don't really want an answer. And again, I get that, but I think it's important to remember when you have, particularly when it's a public thing like this, like it's a public comment on a YouTube video or on a Facebook post or something, remember that other people are going to see it. And so, yeah, that person who's asking, they may not be serious and they may not give a shit what you're going to say, but there's probably at least one other person reading that thread who's like, yeah, I really want to know, like, is abortion vegan? So if you can provide like an actual helpful response that can help someone else, right? It's why doing videos, I think, is important. It's kind of like again, totally getting off track, but with the Trisha Paytas thing, she was like, I'm going vegan, guys. And a lot of people were like, no, you're not. You're doing this for publicity. And yeah, it looked like she was, that's how things were going. I don't know. Maybe she's vegan again now. I don't really keep track, but for me, it's like, who cares? Like, who cares that Vegan Gains made a video and it's like, oh, she gotcha. It's like, did she? He made like an actual pretty useful, nice video that a bunch of other people watched and maybe got something out of. Like, who cares if she got anything? There are tons of other people who maybe learned something and maybe decided to eat less animal products or whatever. Like, I don't know. I don't think it's, I think we have to look at the broader, outreach with stuff like that. So yeah, I think it's important to talk about these things and try not to be so try not to just assume that people are being dicks or just being defensive or trying to gotcha. And then also realize that if it's a public thing, that you can be helping other people, even if the original, poster doesn't really care. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any comments or questions, leave those down below. If you want to subscribe, and